What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with what really happened to Israel Adesanya at UFC 293. At UFC 293, Sean Strickland shocked the world as he not only defeated Israel Adesanya to capture UFC gold, but he did so in dominant fashion, battering the last stylebender over the course of 5 rounds. After the fight, many questioned whether Adesanya was at 100% when he stepped into the octagon, or if there was more at play behind the scenes. However, his coach, Eugene Berriman, said that he was not dealing with any injuries. At the same time, others dismissed the notion that Adesanya simply had an off night, giving the credit to Strickland for his defense while walking down the former pound-for-pound contender. During the UFC 293 post-fight show, the one and only Teddy Atlas offered his thoughts on how Strickland was able to get the win.
You know, almost makes you think about Anderson Silva, guys like that with that kind of pure ability to make his own music, as I was saying yesterday. But this guy kind of like should pull the plug out of the music, you know, and really cut out the music. And he did it in a simple way, in a conventional way, in a basic way. Basic's good sometimes. He did it with a jab. He set the table with the jab, and he ate with the right hand all night long.
Of course, former middleweight champion and longtime top contender Robert Whittaker was quick to weigh in on Adesanya's loss as well.
I see a lot of things popping up saying that Izzy looked off. I don't think he had an off night. I think he looked off because Sean shut him down. Yeah. Izzy wasn't given any space in the open floor to do any of his tricky kicks. He wasn't given any space to work any of his flinch games with his punches. He wasn't given the chance. Sean was in his face from the first bell ring.
In addition, Dricus du Plessis, who had been in line to compete at UFC 293, also gave his thoughts on the quote-unquote amateur performance from Adesanya while staking his own claim to a title fight, writing in part, "I am undoubtedly the #1 contender, so let's settle this like men whenever, wherever. After that, I'll give Stylebender his well-deserved hiding on my home soil, South Africa. That being said, don't want to beat the amateur that fought on Saturday night, I want to beat the best Stylebender, so take some time and get together." With the dust still settling after a spectacular event down under, we want to hear from you. Who do you want to see Sean Strickland defend the belt against? Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. Shout out to our first comments on yesterday's video. Thanks for the support. Sean O'Malley reacts to Dana White interview. At UFC 293, fans were left stunned when both Charles Radke and Manel Kape used a homophobic slur in their post-fight octagon interviews. While there was speculation among fans that the UFC could cut both men, UFC President Dana White revealed at the post-fight press conference that he can't control what fighters say. As he explained, fighters can say what they want, and the UFC doesn't force fighters to apologize. In the cases of Radke and Kape, both men have apologized for their comments. However, the situation has become the talk of the town, so to speak, with recently crowned bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley and his coach Tim Welsh weighing in on the Timbo Sugar Show.
The way Dana reacted to those slurs was like perfect. He said, "We make mistakes. I'm not holier than you either. So we've all been in positions where we've made mistakes, and it's how you recover from it and how you carry yourself after you make a mistake." He came out and apologized on his own free will. We didn't tell him to do anything. The fact that he did that, he means it. I'm sure people accept his apology and some people won't. What would someone in the NFL or MLB guy do if someone said that on the mic?
It'd be out.
Yeah, it'd be canceled, right?
Yeah. God damn. I might drop one and apologize. That's cool with you guys.
As O'Malley also explained, the verbal exchange Kape had with Kai Kara France, who was sitting in the crowd, set the stage for arguably the most exciting clash at 125 pounds. When the two men meet inside the octagon, who do you think gets the win? Drop your predictions in the comments section below. UFC 294 main card revealed. During the UFC 293 broadcast this past weekend, the promotion advertised the upcoming UFC 294 event in Abu Dhabi on October 21st by showing a graphic with 4 announced fights. Although the expectation is that one more fight will be added on the main card, right now the UFC 294 pay-per-view card will go like this. A bout between Nasruddin Imavov and Ikram Aliskerov will kick off the card, with Imavov looking to return to the win column, while Aliskerov looks to pick up his second straight promotional win. Following that, a light heavyweight bout between Magomed Ankalaev and Johnny Walker will take place, with Ankalaev eager to bounce back from a split draw with Jan Blachowicz at UFC 282, and Walker looking to build on a 3-fight win streak. In the co-main event, Paulo Costa and Hamza Chimaev will square off in a highly anticipated scrap that could have serious title implications. before Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira take center stage for a highly anticipated lightweight title fight rematch in the main event. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Alex Volkanovski reveals next UFC fight. At UFC 293, featherweight kingpin Alexander Volkanovski fielded questions from media members regarding his return to action. Although the initial plan was for Volkanovski to make his return before the end of the year following surgery, the champ is now looking to defend his title against Ilia Topuria early next year. While there was speculation that he and Islam Makhachev could run things back depending on how things play out at UFC 294, Justin Gaethje seems to be under the impression that he will compete against the winner of the UFC 294 clash between Makhachev and Oliveira. Given that, it sounds as though there's only one option for Volkanovski: Ilia Topuria.
Yeah, most likely. And again, I want to be active anyway, so I don't want to be waiting around. That's I guess that's one beautiful thing about me. Like at the end of the day, rather than me waiting for a title shot anyway, just keep me busy. I'll fight, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm looking past my opponent, but I've got full confidence in me doing my work in that featherweight division with Ilia. Again, he's tough, durable, but I'll just keep showing that I'm on a whole nother level, and then I got that fight. I think I'm being told Islam wants to be very active, so as long as the schedule still fits the same for me, I don't really care too much.
Of course, Volkanovski was also recently angling for a clash between he and Conor McGregor at UFC 300. Between a potential showdown with McGregor and a rematch with Islam Makhachev, it certainly sounds as though the featherweight kingpin is eager to cement his place on next year's landmark UFC 300 card. Before that, however, he'll have to go through undefeated contender Ilia Topuria. With the fight between the two all but guaranteed, who do you think winds up getting the win? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Conor McGregor wants Sean Strickland fight. After seeing Sean Strickland defeat Israel Adesanya at UFC 293, Conor McGregor is revisiting his idea of making the jump to 185 pounds. Last year, the Irish star announced that he'd be competing at middleweight at some point before his career is all said and done. However, this past weekend, he told fans on Twitter that his next fight would be at 185 pounds, despite expectations that he would compete against Michael Chandler at 155 pounds. In addition, McGregor wrote, "No mess, I'd fancy it," when a fan suggested he make the jump to 185. Of course, the big question regarding McGregor is whether he will re-enter the USADA testing pool, or whether the UFC will grant him an exemption from the 6 months of testing. While he had previously expressed a desire to return before the end of the year, all indications are that he will now compete against Michael Chandler early next year. When the two match up inside the octagon, who do you think winds up getting the job done? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Ian Garry calls out Colby Covington. While many have dubbed Ian Machado Garry as a pure striker, the undefeated Irish star has no plans of cherry-picking opponents with favorable stylistic matchups throughout his career. During a recent appearance on the MMA Hour, Garry was asked about his dream opponent, and to the surprise of many, gave an unexpected response.
Colby Covington. Colby Covington. I would love to thump him out of him, Ariel. Oh my God, at home. The only thing that annoys me about that is I'd have more fun doing that in Miami.
Why?
In his backyard, walk into Miami, slap them out of him in front of all of his fans. I have no problem playing the heel. I have no problem going out there and being the bad guy for a weekend, because at the end of the day, when I put him unconscious, I'm going to have a smile on my face.
The UFC is expected to return to Ireland next year after a long hiatus. Given the rise of Garry, the expectation is that the undefeated contender will headline this card, much like Conor McGregor did many years ago when he defeated Diego Brandao in 2014. The question is, who do you want to see Garry compete against should he headline the UFC Fight Night Ireland card? Play matchmaker in the comment section below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have Dana White going off on a UFC fighter. In a recent interview, Dana White had some choice words to say about Tito Ortiz. Here's what he had to say.
Have you ever disliked one of your fighters?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because you're a human being first.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
is there anyone
there's many guys that I disliked. And,
is there anyone that you thought, like, man, I hope he get his beat tonight?
Tito Ortiz. I mean, it was very
out
in the open, man. When him and Chuck fought, you know, as the promoter, you're not supposed to have a rooting interest. I couldn't wait to see Chuck whoop his ass.
Right.
Especially.
That's the realest shit, though.
At such a critical time in the sport's development and in the development of the UFC, there are probably two guys that absolutely tried to destroy the company at that time, and it was Tito Ortiz and Randy Couture.
Really?
100%. Yeah. Two of the worst guys to ever fucking deal with. It was a lot of behind the scenes stuff with me and him. Here's the problem with Tito. And Tito's just a really dumb human being. He's not intelligent at all. He's very, very fucking stupid. And I mean, look at him speak publicly anytime. Look, Google Tito Ortiz talking, okay?
Oh,
Tito,
I can
you know
tell.
you're fucking stupid, Tito. You know you are. So Tito we'd be coming up to a big fight that was on Saturday, right? Deals have been done for months. Tito would call and say, I'm not gonna show up unless you pay me another $150,000 or whatever the number was. He would do this on the regular, and I would go fucking crazy. And Tito was always the type of guy that would step over dollars to pick up dimes, okay? Because he thought he was smart, but he was the complete opposite of smart.
Do you agree with Dana White, or do you think he was too harsh with Tito Ortiz? Top comments. If Dana didn't have double standards, he would have no standards at all. LOL. Conor should be banned from talking about other fighters until he actually fights. Dana can't make excuses for Izzy, saying he was slow. Sean simply shut down his offense. Plain and simple. I'm tired of people comparing Izzy to Aljo. I don't think Izzy deserves a rematch, but I also think that Aljo doesn't deserve a rematch. When Aljo originally won the belt, it's because of him being an actress. He did come back and win handedly against Jan, but after that, he got lucky against an injured and old TJ. Then he defeated a guy who came off a 3-year layoff. The one fresh upcomer KO'd him. He definitely doesn't deserve a rematch. If you want to be featured on our next video, make sure to leave a comment and don't forget to check out yesterday's video in case you missed it.